Hey Julian, let's take a look at this week 2 assignment 3 drawing here. I think since you're using the same drawing that you were working with in the last assignment, the same issues that we saw in the last one are cropping up here. So notably the shadow kind of issues and the floating cube issue, although this kind of shadow issue is trying to be resolved, which is good. I do think you're using the colored pencil in excess in this drawing as well. I think there are areas where colored pencil is being used where I think you really could be using marker instead. I think especially the background, you could go in with a lighter blue and just blind it in. I think the shadow down here could be used for a marker rather than a green colored pencil, which I think is very kind of odd and throwing off the whole value cast shadow situation down here. And then I think it starts to become a little bit too overworked in some textures. I think the cube back here, we don't get a sense of what it's actually occurring within the texture. I think the colored pencil isn't giving you enough kind of leeway in layering, and so you have kind of this brown in place, but it doesn't feel like you can put anything over top of that. You probably don't have enough purchase with the colored pencil. So I think you need to be using the marker more for a lot of these situations. I think even the cardboard paper tube, we could be seeing marker being used for that rather than the colored pencil. The problem with the colored pencil is that it in of itself, its usage creates a certain type of texture, and it's a very kind of rough, scratchy texture, and it's also very difficult to create consistency with large areas with the colored pencil. So we can see within the background it's kind of darker, it's lighter. We can see kind of the marks that are being made and the directions that they're being made. In some cases it's very good. I think the green that's down here actually has a nice kind of smooth coverage, even though it's a very odd color for that. But in other cases, like I think the cube, it feels a little overworked. So I think that's, for me, the main thing is I would really like to see more marker being used rather than colored pencil. The colored pencil, it's really meant to be used to kind of supplement a marker drawing. If you have some textural detail that needs to be applied, if you have to kind of help a gradient along, if you need to add some highlights with the white colored pencil, that's what it's good for. But large areas, areas that should be kind of having a certain amount of smoothness to them, and definitely just going in with base color, that's what the marker is best used for. And it just doesn't feel like that's quite where it is, right now. Texturally, the stone textures, they feel good, although I'd almost like to see a little bit more color application there as well. Just a little bit of an integration of some different colors to help kind of create some variety. The sphere, I think, works fine as a metallic texture, although I think you need to have a little bit more kind of darker values that help to kind of create very sharp changes from highlight to or middle tone to shadow tone to create that sort of sense of reflection, as well as maybe even introducing some of the colors that are next to it into it, so that it almost feels like it's reflecting off its surface, and that's going to help to create that illusion that it's very shiny. But I think still some of the issues like the cast shadow and the cube floating do take away from the composition, because they, just as they did in the last one, they just feel very off, and it doesn't feel like everything is quite in place yet. It's still a good kind of solid drawing, and all the good things that were occurring from the last assignment still occur here. But I think the application of the color and too much colored pencil and that sort of stuff, those are things that you'll really want to focus on as we move into the next week.